Gathering our chairs. Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and do a call roll. And who's going to be Janice? Feel free.
President Setzer.
Here.
Vice President Davidson.
Here.
Secretary Kincaid, present. Treasurer Hahn.
Seated.
Director Hector. Director Massime.
President accounted for.
Director McGraw.
Here.
Director Ricketts. Absent. All right.
Rick, you're always present. I don't know whether there's any accounting for you at this point, though. So.
Keep your comments to yourself, President. Run the meeting.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and if you would join me in doing the Pledge of Allegiance, I would appreciate that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go to the next level, I am going to make a motion that without objection, we're going to add a line item to our new business agenda. It's going to be a recommendation from the RFDC relative to installing lights in the pickleball court. Any objections? No? So it is added as line item C on new business today. All right, our open forum, we only have one person signed up, Jerry Stanford. Is this relative, is Jerry in the room? Jerry, is this relative to anything that's on the agenda?
Not on the agenda.
Then it'd be good and welfare. Okay, thank you. Second line item is to approve the minutes from July 5th, 2019. The draft has been posted. Do I have any objections to posting as written? So moved? So moved. Start with our reports. The management company today, we have filling in for Rick Noswell, Debbie Lauber. You're on.
Morning, everyone. Rick is taking a nice, well-deserved vacation because he and his wife have an anniversary. That's what they're doing. Thank you. All Federation directors presently sitting on this board are current owners of condominium parcels or single-family dwellings in the district they represent within Kings Point. This verification is based on information published in the public records of Hillsborough County on July 31st, 2019. Financial statements and reports are completed and delivered accurately and timely by the 21st of the succeeding month. First Service Residential provided individual association and county conferences at Kings Point First Service office during the month of July. The association and treasurers and presidents that utilize these meetings were provided answers to their questions by me. Please contact the office if you need to for any financial questions, or your community association manager actually can answer a lot of your questions first. We have actually coordinated the CPA, the tax returns and year-end reports. The postcards have been sent out to all residents. If they want a copy, it's available on your community website, or they can request a printed copy from our office. And the boards will be receiving an email next week that your tax returns are going to be ready to come in and sign. Yay, the year is over for me. First Service Residential. So on the cards, again, if you have any questions on the postcards that you get, you can call our office or the directions on the card. First Service is assisting Vesta with the 1902 office building changes and lease agreement specifics. OLM completed a graded inspection on July 29th, 30th, and 31st, 2019. The full report of OLM, along with the additional information regarding the work schedules, is available on kpscc.com website, landscape page. OLM will have a graded inspection on August 26th, 27th, and 28th of 2019. The 2019 mulch program contract was approved by the membership on May 17th. Each association's order forms are available for distribution, which started on July 2nd. All paperwork needs to be completed and returned to Maubel at the First Service Residential Office by August 15th. Thank you for your assistance. Daryl Flint, Landscape Contract Manager, continues to monitor and work with the landscape contractors, Brightview Section 1, Down to Earth Section 2 and 4, Russell Landscape Section 3, and Grow, the palm and tree contractor, to keep the landscape and palm tree services on schedule. POCs, submit your necessary landscape work order request to poc@fsresidential.com. We have developed an interim work order system utilizing our Connect system. This will allow us to track the progress of the requests and notify the proper people through to completion of the work orders. Irrigation work orders are submitted into the Master Association upkeep system. Section 1, 3, and 4, outstanding landscape warranty and current damage issues. These issues have been identified and submitted by association presidents and POCs to Daryl Flint. Daryl has quantified and evaluated these issues and submitted his report to the Federation Board. Processing these claims is under review, and associations were notified last month regarding their claim. First Service Residential is continuing to monitor the irrigation, water, and weather regarding Section 1 and 2 landscape needs and the Southwest Florida Waste Water Management District. Okay, I knew I did it once. Okay. First, let's see here. First Service has assisted in the development of various irrigation landscape procedures with the Federation and Master Boards. These procedures are being reviewed with various committees and groups. Currently, First Service Residential Management is coordinating various projects and contracts with 9 associations for painting, 5 associations for roofing, 4 associations for pavers, driveways, sidewalks, and 22 general maintenance repairs. First Service Residential Customer Service representatives have processed for July 55 property transfer applications, year-to-date 343, compared to 2018 year-to-date of the same number, 343. 35 lease applications year-to-date, 269 compared to 2018 year-to-date of 306. This is a really important one for all of you and your associations. Please update your emergency information, emails, phone numbers, contacts at the First Service Residential Office. This information is extremely important whenever emergency assistance is necessary. Your continued assistance in returning this information is greatly appreciated. Everyone gets this when we mail the annual meetings, and it's very important, especially if you have the next of kin to call for some reason that someone needs some help, and we don't have anything because no one's provided us the information. If you have a non-medical emergency, call 813-642-8990. If you have a medical emergency or you have a fire, call 911. And reminder for the summer or leaving for more than a few days. Please return off your water and be sure all your fans, lights, and appliances are turned off before you lock the door. Have a great month.
Thank you, Debbie. Next on the roster is Ginger with the Recreation.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. The board has my report. I won't read all the numbers. I'll point out a couple of things here. You see your entertainment series, the summer series, is doing quite well. As you recall, we were doing 2 shows in 1 month because we had construction going on, but that will go 6 months from May through October. So the ticket sales thus far are a little over $21,000. Just a note on the backstage dressing room monitors. If you recall, donations were provided by the Pelican players, and there were 6 backstage TVs installed so that the actors and the performers backstage could actually see when it was their turn to come up and everything. And the system is completed and operational, and I believe the Pelican players used it for their shows in the past week, so that's gone on quite well. In the SPA CA trial program, which started November 1st, to date we have over 212 clients have used the program. totaling just shy of $13,000. In the IDEME project, you know that terminated July 15th. Since then, the guards have confiscated 2 badges that were terminated, both for 1 year. One of those gentlemen did renew his, the other one just kind of disappeared. So I'm not sure what, where he is or if he's coming back in, but they have, as the board asked, that we let them know if we continue to find any of those that had not come in and renewed their badge. Just a couple of notes on the projects underway. The modular handicap ramp, this says it's being installed. It is installed out there. I believe they've got a little punch list left to do on that. The pool ramp hand rail has been installed. That was a fabrication that took some time, but we have been out there and worked watching people with wheelchairs, with motorized scooters, and people seem to be quite adept at getting up the ramp, so that's working well. Lapidary and Radio Club refurbishment is completed. There was some cabinetry and painting work done in those rooms. And up next is the tennis gazebo renovation project and the improvements to those restrooms. We're looking for a mid-August start date there. The catering kitchen hood system is nearing its final inspection with the county and the fire marshal. We've got some roof repair projects that have been budgeted down there. It's always a little tough to do it in the rainy season, but they're up in the docket just waiting for the skies to clear a little bit. The 2020 front entry sliding door project, if anybody's been over there, you can see it's been boxed in to kind of keep some of that construction at bay. We have a lot of residents say, well, I see the door there, why aren't you using it yet? We're still waiting on the electrical inspection from the county. They're on their own schedule, not ours, so we wait for that. And after the electrical inspection, then we do the installation of the RFID. They'll start closing in the housings around the door, but we can't move forward with that until they tell us where to go. And then finally, the new lawn bowling green underway. The subsurface materials, drainage, concrete, and wooden rails are completed. Next phase will include the irrigation, the green mix material for installation and planting, and they still say they're on schedule for completion in mid-October. A couple notes on security. We had 11,890 passes issued at the gates, and new decals issued to date for automobiles and golf carts, 6,607. Couple notables here. A resident called the front gate to inform security that a drone had crash landed in their driveway. It was picked up by security, taken to the North Clubhouse, lost and found, where it was retrieved by the pilot. Since then, I was asked a little bit about drones and if they're, can they do that and what are they looking for, and they're in my yard and things like that. If a drone is flown by a hobbyist, there's not much restriction now on them other than being personally responsible for damages, possibly having the need for permission to fly over private property, but that's very difficult to monitor and costly to pursue. Depending on the extent of damage, if there should be any, there wasn't here, but if there should be any, could possibly go after the homeowner's insurance. But in any event, since KP is considered private property, there would have to be a rule or bylaw prohibiting it. And of course, when our bylaws were created, drones didn't exist. So I just was asked a number of times about that. So I thought I'd throw that out there because it's, every day brings new technologies and things like that I thought I'd just mention that. While on patrol, we had an officer observe 2 vans filled to the brim with black garbage bags. He thought that was a little sketchy. He followed them. They came to the dumpsters up here, and when he asked them about it, they said, "Oh, I was told these are the contractor dumpsters here." And they were informed that was incorrect, and they had to drive away with all their trash. Hopefully, they took it to an appropriate place. I can't say that they didn't end up somewhere else, but we live that every day, watching people just dumping these back dumpsters. So if you are confused about where your appropriate dumping areas are, call over to First Service or our offices for the appropriate spots. Also, there's going to be as Ryan refers to them, a PSA, public service announcement. We'll be producing and distributing with the goal of helping to inform residents a little bit about various security rules that are in place for guest access, golf cart access, and facility badge requirements. We hope that comes out next week to just try and get everybody to understand what the rules are. I know a lot of times people think the rules are made for everybody but them, so we're going to try and make sure everybody knows the rules are for them. And it'll be a little video that will help distribute. And finally, one more thing that security had asked me to let you know. You see this bright colored hang tag, kind of looks like when you're in a hotel and it's like, you know, do not disturb sign. Security has become quite concerned that more and more when they're out on the patrol, they find garage doors open and just left with all your stuff's in there, you know. And this is going to be hung on your door. And it's just an awareness that, hey, lock up, you know, close your door when you're not there. They'll drive by and then hours later come by and drive by. It's in the night, it's in the day. So we're just going to try this just as a reminder. You might want to close up. I see some thumbs up there. I appreciate that. We're trying here. And also just as a reminder, remember the sliding glass doors and making sure those are locked as well. We get very comfortable in this community. But and Jeff Mary back there will also put a thumbs up. The best we can do is suggest that you try to help secure your own areas and we try to help monitor it. And I think that's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. And kind of this dovetailing here, elaborate a little bit on the garbage. It's good that they picked up on that there was a truck full of garbage going somewhere. Associations and anybody that brings in renovators or carpenters or whatever, do some work on your house, make sure you inform them as to the proper places to dump the garbage. They see it. It looks obvious. They believe they are there to use. They're not commercial dumpsters. They are residential, very basic garbage. We need to be more vigilant in telling our vendors that they have to take the garbage to the dump. Now, I know somebody's going to be a little upset about that because vendors will charge you extra when they have to take the garbage to the dump. But that is the way it works. But we need to be the ones who tell them because they will take the path of least resistance, and if they don't dump it in yours, they'll come to somebody else's neighborhood and dump it, and it's just not right. So let's just be more vigilant when we bring in vendors and things and make sure we make that. And I'm going to talk to First Service and Rick that we make sure we maybe put something on that with our qualified vendor list, and that way people can see it and know that our dumpsters are not for commercial purposes. So that's good that they caught it. Thank you. Thanks for that report. All right, next we have Dan Armstrong here to give us our quarterly financial reports and walk us through the numbers.
Good morning, everybody. It is time to report the first quarter of fiscal year 2019-20. Starting with the first page, this is the balance sheet or statement of financial position for a not-for-profit entity. You can see we have the combined results in the first column. It's comparing to the most recent year-end. And we'll just take a second to apologize to the board for just handing this to you for the first time. It is indeed, as you know, the year-end figures are being adjusted with the auditors. So getting that in line was a little bit of a chore. But there is your comparison column. Let's go through it a little bit. The assets you can see is basically flat in cash, just a change of $1,800. And it basically swaps between two line items, operating cash down a little bit and replacement reserves up a little bit, which is always good to see. In the total of the current assets section, there's a few changes there. The accounts receivables down by about $87,000. The bulk of that is the adjustment. Oh, excuse me, I almost misspoke. I don't know why the change is $87,000 and from 128 a year, and it's not much of a change. So there's really no reason to delve into that too much. The prepaid line item we talk about a lot because that goes up and down significantly at year-end. Right after year-end, we prepay the entire year's insurance policy, which, as you know, is about $280,000. So at the first quarter, after renewal, there'll be a big prepaid figure. So that's why that's significantly higher than year-end, because at year-end, only 1 month of that prepaid policy was left. Okay. On the whole, that section doesn't change by much year over year. Now, your fixed asset section, last section before the total asset, subtotal there does not change from year end. That year end column, the second column, of course, is different from the last time you saw this because, as you know, we talk about it all year long. The replacements that occurred during the year, and this year it was about 1.1 million, were not capitalized until during the audit process. So when you do see the audit, you'll see that year over year, your assets increased by $1.1 million before effect for depreciation change. But those are the adjusted numbers now. All right. Down in the liabilities and net asset section, the second half of the sheet, the only major change there is in the long-term debt, and that's as expected. You make a big $352,000 payment each quarter. All right. So let's go on over to page 2. Page 2 is just the detailed version of page 1. Shows the balance sheet, the spread of cash, spread of other assets, liabilities, etc., by all 4 of your departments. The right-hand column, the combined column, ties to the page that we just looked at. So I won't go through the details here, but I'm always available to answer your questions about that. Page 3 is your combined statement of cash activities, otherwise known as your income statement or P&L in the for-profit world. Let's go straight to the bottom line, right-hand side. You can see your eye there and see that it's right away. It's a favorable month, $115,000 favorable variance to the budget through the first quarter. Again, your comparison column is the budget, not the prior year there. So going back up, let's get into that a little bit and see what it consists of. The total revenue section, you can see total revenues are 131 and change favorable to budget, and the variance is just above that. You can see food and beverage is the bulk of that, the third line item out of 4 in that section. A little bit in the other revenues and event revenues. So everything was favorable for the quarter. Now, with those favorable revenue variances and activities, there's usually an unfavorable variance in the expense activities. So you'll see those going down into the operating expenses. You're looking at the second row, event expenses. It's a little bit unfavorable. So you can see we spent more to make more. But the good news is those events all pay for themselves as they go along. Food and beverage, you expect to sell more than your increased expense, which we do, and it's a pretty good ratio there. So $78,000 of additional sales incurred $53,000 of additional expenses. Other operating expenses are the same as they match up to the other revenue section roughly in the top section. So let's speak to variances in the operating section. Nothing's really significant there for the quarter. The exception is the food and beverage, which of course we already talked about was covered by the additional revenue. On the whole, see the subtotal there, it's only $5,600 off on $2.1 million. And it's unfavorable variance, but that's compared to $131,000 favorable variance of revenue, so you know what that means to net income or gross margin, you might call it. It's favorable. Going down to the bottom section, just to cover a couple of variances. Of course, your debt service and management fees are right on budget as they have to be. Interest income is favorable by $7,600, and miscellaneous income is unfavorable. That is the transfer fee line item. Remember, the board has those on hold right now. They were budgeted for this year, and they're not being received. So, but by the time you reach the bottom line,